Hey all, welcome back to Paperback Thoughts. Today's video is special because I'm launching a new side project on YouTube which is to specifically talk about poetry, and the videos in this series will have my favorite poets and the poems that have influenced me over the time. So let's get into it.
O me, O life of the questions of these recurring, of the endless trains of the faithless, of cities filled with the foolish, what good amid these, O me, O life? Answer, that you are here, that life exists and identity, that the powerful play goes on and you may contribute a verse, that the powerful play goes on and you may contribute a verse.
There is a lot to love in the audio clip that I just played. A very famous verse from a poem of Walt Whitman. Second, it's recited by the amazing actor Robin Williams. And third, it's taken from one of my favorite movies, Dead Poets Society. So the situation where Robin Williams recites this poem is he's an English teacher and he recites this to a group of young high school boys to make them understand why we are reading poetry, what is the significance of poetry, and how poetry can influence them in their lives. If you haven't watched this movie, definitely watch it because it's beautiful. Walt Whitman, without a doubt, is one of America's most influential poets of all time. And the fact that he was able to restructure the very art of poetry, very art of writing poetry, is another reason why I love him so much. And the best way to know Walt Whitman is this masterpiece of his Leaves of Grass, which is a collection of many poems that he has written over his lifetime. So this book was written in 1855, actually published by himself with his own money. And many sections in the books were added on, deleted, edited on till he passed away in 1892. The one thing that surprised me is because when you start reading this book, you realize how beautifully Whitman has written about things which is common to every one of us. And it's really hard to believe that America at that time did not accept Whitman or Whitman's work immediately, because it was very controversial for its the type of language that Whitman was using, the revolutionizing the style of poetry forever, and the sensuality, basically the sensuality that Whitman was bringing into everything. Not even the general public, even major popular authors of those time hated Whitman and his work. There is a popular anecdote where it says that Herman Melville, the author of the book Moby Dick, hated this book so much that he tossed it into the fire as soon as he finished it. Whitman writes, "The scent of these armpits are finer than prayer." So obviously you can imagine the outrage that religious people had against Whitman when he writes stuff like this. If you haven't read Whitman at all, Song of Myself is a very good place to start. So Song of Myself is book 3 in the collection known as Leaves of Grass. So I'll read out some very few lines from the first section of Song of Myself, which will kind of give you an idea what kind of poetry Whitman writes and why it is very important that you read it. I celebrate myself and sing myself, and what I shall assume, you shall assume. For every atom belonging to me, as good belongs to you. He wants to show us how one should celebrate his or her life, what your perspective on life should be. And when he goes on to say that what he assumes, we all should assume, it may come out a little selfish, but the thing is, he only says that because he believes that all human beings are connected equally without race, class, religion or anything. And towards the end of the first section, Whitman goes on to saying that creeds and schools in abeyance. What Whitman means here is like, for at least for a while, you should keep your religion or your belief systems or whatever you've learned in school or universities aside and see what you are, like as naked as you can be without anything that other people has put into you. And ends the first section saying, nature without check with original energy. I mean, have you ever thought what your original energy is? What would you do if there were no people to tell you what to do and there were no restrictions in your life? That is original energy, what the nature has given you. So it is important. I mean, it's impractical at times to be at your original energy in a society where you live, at your college, school or job. It is often not possible, but take out some time from your busy schedules and your life to experience that original energy of nature or original energy of yourself. And this is how beautiful the poems of Walt Whitman are, and it goes on forever. This entire book is beautiful. Only part that I found difficult to connect are sections of poems where he is writing about his patriotism towards America, which is really hard to connect for people who are not born and brought up in America. But other than that, I feel this book is universal. And let me warn you, this is not a book that you can like read it in one go and finish it. I have been reading this book for at least a year now, because each sections you kind of have to chew on it and try to get maximum out of it to have by your bedside or desk and go back to it from time to time. Thank you for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, I plead you to take up Walt Whitman's work. It is available for free on the internet, or if you want to buy the book, you can find the link in description. Until next week, thank you.